Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric and a continuing series, Sega Race Renaissance, where I review every single arcade released 3D racing game Sega's ever made in a retrospective fashion. And today we have R-Tuned Ultimate Street Racing, which if you can't tell already, based upon what it looks like in the release date, is just wearing its Fast and Furious inspiration on its sleeve. But the racing is absolutely amazing, and we'll get into that in just a second. But before we do, if you can do me a huge favor, hit like and subscribe, and that notification bell definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But this is a mixed bag for me. I love the racing in R-Tuned, but I have absolutely no interest in illegal street racing, and the Fast and Furious movies are fun, but nothing I've ever fallen in love with. So, content-wise, 10 out of 10. Thematic-wise, like a 5 out of 10. And that is not a strike against the game whatsoever. Not every single game's made for me, and I understand that. If you love Fast and the Furious, if you love street racing, if you have a car that you're constantly modifying, this may be your favorite game in Sega's entire retinue of 3D arcade racers. It just doesn't hit me in the same way that something like Daytona does, but honestly, I don't watch Daytona racing or NASCAR either, so maybe it's an unfair critique. What I will say is the drifting in this game is spectacular. You don't even need to tap the brake. You just jerk the wheel hard to one way or another and you are drifting. And let me tell you, you're going to be drifting for like 80% of this game, but the drifting is so good that you're going to love doing it every single second you are. It takes a few races to get used to the drifting mechanic, especially because you don't have to apply the brake and then hit the gas. It's kind of going to screw with you mentally as to what you think you're supposed to do, but when you get used to it, it's going to feel like second nature, and when you go back to another game with different drifting mechanics, you're going to struggle there. You will see that we have a boost gauge, and we can boost all around this course, and that's going to be super important. Boosting at the right place is going to get you that first place finish more often than not, and that leads me to my second quote-unquote complaint with the game, and it's not really a complaint, it's actually just relatively easy for an arcade racing game. Sega's usually notoriously tough with their difficulty, and honestly the amount of time they give you to complete a course can be a little bit hard, but R-Tuned is doing none of those things, and that's probably actually a plus. But sometimes I'm just racing against the AI and I'm winning too many races. It doesn't make me want to come back and play as much, but getting a two-player game with this changes things up completely. And it also looks really nice for its time and place. This is running on the Sega Lindberg hardware, the most recent release after Naomi 2. This was the first time Sega was developing on hardware that they had not built in-house, and it looks really nice and it still holds up even as running in standard aspect ratio 4:3. But one of the best things the game does, and I think it does it almost to the best degree Sega's ever managed, is the course layout and the tracks are all different, they're all unique, and they all have great racing mechanics. There's not a dud track in this game. Some are definitely easier than others, and some will have you drifting around multiple turns in different directions time after time. But each course is a lot of fun, and I love the neon vibe aesthetic. That's something I do love about the Fast and Furious movies, and in general, I love a nice neon aesthetic, and this game is punching up those colors and giving you those light trails as hard as it possibly can, and I think it has a really nice look because of it. Maybe you think it looks a little bit garish, and that's fair. Leave me a comment down below and you tell me, are you really into this art style in these colorways, or do you find it slightly distracting, as you even get to pick the color of your neon under your car, and you can customize to your heart's content on this as well, and that's always a fun thing. But I just keep coming back to the driving mechanics. This game moves at a turbo pace. The drifting, once you execute it correctly, feels perfect. The handling is spot on the money, and it's just a fast game. It does really simulate the feel of probably illegal street racing. I've never done it before, but if I do, I'll do a follow-up video and let you know. But I probably won't do that because chances are I will drive my car directly into a bridge abutment, and you will not be getting any more episodes of Video Game Esoterica if I pull off something as stupid as that. But this game also has a really Fast and Furious style soundtrack. Hopefully it doesn't throw up a copyright strike, because it does have lyrics, so we will find out. But enjoy for the next 45 seconds, and I'll be right back, or I'll just keep talking. Oh, I was actually smart enough to keep the lyrics out of that little bit, and I forgot. But in the time that you listened to that, I did go out and I did street race, and I did drive my car directly into a bridge abutment, and this is my ghost talking to you about the next race. All jokes aside, I gotta throw them in every once in a while. It's just a fun game with a really 2000s aesthetic, but I'm sure, like I said earlier, Sega wanted to capitalize on this because the Fast and Furious franchise, they're fun movies. I mean, I'm a filmmaker for a living and I wish I could get the opportunity to make something like that. It's maybe not what I would make if I was given my druthers, but honestly, I can't critique a movie because I don't have that big of a career right now as far as Hollywood filmmaking is concerned. But it's just always been a fun time, but never a lifestyle I've been interested in whatsoever. I do own a very fast car, and I do drive it fast when it's safe and I'm not on the street. But honestly, that's the one thing that I just keep coming back to. Amazing mechanics, amazing drifting, amazing physics, really pretty graphics, with just a style that doesn't 100% do it for me, because you'll even see in some of the clips, there's going to be different characters you're racing against coming in and giving you a little bit of smack talk. It has a vibe, it's just not a vibe that I'm 100% there for, but like I said, this might be somebody's cup of tea. Hell, it might be their entire gallon of tea for all I know, and I do want to hear down below what do you think about the aesthetic, because that's my curious thing about this. I'm not critiquing the game mechanically whatsoever, but there's plenty of video games out there that are gameplay-wise 10 out of 10s that might just not hit perfectly for you, and Artuned is one of those. But I still do love how it looks. That's the funny thing. The colors I'm into. The cars, I would never modify a car to look like that with that giant wing. I think it looks a little ridiculous in real life. But it's just those like little voice clips and the people, you know, shit talking you that just don't hit as well. And I do love the boost though. I mean, you can constantly boost around corners. You get that nice lens flare. They put everything and the kitchen sink into the look and design of this game. And you either love it or you hate it. But again, the drifting. You just see me throwing it around these corners here, not touching those walls. This is like Sega Rally if Sega Rally was a street racing game called Artuned. But Sega's always done an amazing job with drifting mechanics. Sega Rally, Artuned, Scud Race, OutRun 2. Sega's probably the king of drifting, and I know that I did a video on Ridge Racer 2 last year, and a lot of people said that Namco was the best at a drifting car mechanic, and I would say that's incorrect. Sega does it better, and I'm sure there'll be some comments down below as well. But getting into another race here, you might think that you're seeing the same track over and over again, but they are different, and I do like that everything happens at night. That's a fun look for things, and it does fit thematically as well, because nobody, well, unless they're stupid, is street racing in the middle of the day. But where I live in Chicago, at like 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm on a very big straightaway, about 2 streets over from a main drag, and you hear cars and motorcycles ripping it up and down that road as loud as possibly can be, and it's always during the dark. So it makes sense that this game is in the dark as well. But take this turn here, slide it in left, hold off, slide it in right, you get another really big drift all the way around here, you just don't touch that guardrail, and it feels so fluid and so unique that I can't help but love this game. And that's the funny thing, I keep saying things that I don't love about it, but I keep telling you how good it is, and that's just the dichotomy of Artuned. I love it, and if it had a different theme to it, it might be my favorite Sega racing game of all time. And why is it that good? Because it was made by Sega AM2, and if I listed out the games that they made right now, I would run out of footage and you would have to be looking at a black screen. Sega AM2 was the heavy-hitting division of Sega when it came to arcade games, and Yu Suzuki was involved with them as well. So it is no surprise that this game mechanically is a straight 10 out of 10, one of the best arcade racing games ever made in my opinion. AM2 was on fire in the arcades in the 90s and 2000s. They were delivering home run after home run for Sega, and that's why this game's physics, mechanics, handling, and drifting are all spectacular and in my opinion perfect. They were just following the trends of the year it was released, and the year it was released, games like this and aesthetics like this were huge. But again, as far as the game's concerned, this is an absolute ton of fun to play. You can play it on original Lindberg, or you can use Teknoparrot to play it, but however you do play it, you should definitely check it out. And if you have the ability to use a steering wheel, not a controller, I highly recommend it, because using the wheel to do the drifts feels so much better than using an analog stick. It makes you really feel like you were there for the game. But short of that, that is Artuned. Leave me a comment down below and tell me, have you ever played it? Do you plan on playing it after this video? And was I fair in critiquing the aesthetic? Sure that I'll have a video next week on more racing, but I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.